Two of the best movies in a very long time has two of the most iconic movie monsters on screen. First of all, congratulations Takashi Yamazaki, TOHO and everyone on the Godzilla -1 team, including the hard-working VFX artists for winning the first ever Oscar awards for the Big G. At $15 million budget, Hollywood, take note. Although the Academy Awards has lost most of its prestige over the years owing to it getting into politics rather than entertainment, it's still a big win for the Big G here. So moving on, here in this video we will take a close look at TOHO's Godzilla -1 versus Frank Herbert's Sandworm from Dune. We will do the needful, and that is explore into both the two monsters' design, size, origins, powers, and size them up against one another before playing out a theoretical crossover battle between the two. Who would come out on top is for the ending of this video to showcase, so let's get to it. Let's take a short look at the origins and nature of these two monsters. Godzilla -1 in the movie is an amphibious sea creature that has been known to have existed for a very long time and has become some sort of a myth amongst the natives of the Odo Island off the coast of mainland Japan. With the US nuclear testings in 1946, the radiation mutated the creature into a kaiju that developed a hatred for humanity, pouring out its wrath and vengeance against the hapless people of post-war Japan. The Sandworms, on the other hand, is the apex creature of a desert planet called Arrakis in the Dune saga. Their real origins is somewhat of a mystery, although the future God Emperor, that is Leto Atreides of that universe, stated that the Sandworms were an introduced species on the planet of Dune. These highly territorial creatures are worshipped as godlike beings by the native freeman culture there, and they are the creators of the spice melange, a psychoactive drug that unlocks psychic powers on the people that consume it, giving them prescient powers and elongating their lifespans by many-fold. So, coming to the design and the sizes of these two, we first have Godzilla, who is essentially a mutated dinosaur-like creature that walks on two legs and has a scaly body with a long tail and dorsal spikes which jut out from the back to a great extent. Godzilla here is stated to be 50.1 meters tall or 164 feet, more than 100 meters or more than 330 feet long, and weighs in at around 20,000 tons. The Dune Sandworm is an even larger specimen here, being the adult form of a greatly extended life cycle which involves various stages of development. The large mature adults can grow to be around 400 to 450 meters long, with exceptions that can even reach 1,000 meters or 3,280 feet in length. The biggest one though, which is called the Old Man or the Grandfather of the Desert, is half a league in size, which translates to around 2.4 kilometers or nearly 1.5 miles. So even though both of these are truly gigantic, the Sandworm dwarfs Godzilla -1 by a magnitude. So a Sandworm has no particular special power other than being truly enormous in size. They are the apex creatures of that planet. They are subterranean in nature, but ironically, they are allergic to the sands on where they thrive on. They have developed metallic-like scales which overlap each other all over the body, preventing the entry of sand inside of it, which can cause deadly reactions. These scales are so durable that even laser weapons and missile strikes would do them no harm, and the only way a Sandworm can be killed is by a nuclear strike when it surfaces above ground, or more subtly by water poisoning. Their mouths and innards are powerful enough to crush and swallow heavy machinery tens of meters wide. What happens to this equipment is as good as any guess. Godzilla 1, however, is an irradiated creature that possesses quite a few abilities, special abilities and powers, aside from its immense size. Like the others, it too has the atomic breath, but the process of charging his atomic breath is quite unique, as his dorsal plates glow blue and extend outwards starting from the tip of the tail, working upwards, then retracting all at once like a trigger before firing. His atomic breath can cause an explosion similar to an atomic bomb, but this power also burns Godzilla, forcing him to regenerate before he can use it again. And talking about regeneration, this version of Godzilla can heal itself from any damage, with a greatly accelerated healing factor that closes its wounds and injuries in a matter of seconds. It can also heal from near total annihilation, like a kaiju Deadpool. This ability truly makes Godzilla -1 a terror to behold, potentially unkillable in nature. Before comparing them against each other in a combat situation, let's take a quick look at both of their weaknesses. So a sandworm in theory can only exist and thrive in a desert environment, while Godzilla -1 is an ocean creature which puts them both at odds. The sandworm is highly allergic to water, and even small amounts of it could kill the gigantic beast. But Godzilla has no water powers, so that's fair enough. Another weakness of the sandworm is of course atomics, which kills it due to the blast power and the heat generated in the explosion. This is something that the sandworm needs to worry about though. Godzilla -1 in the other corner has no visible or notable weaknesses. The atomic breath that is its main power also damages its body externally and internally, but that cannot be counted as a weakness, but only merely a side effect that is overcome by its accelerated healing factor. Its one major disadvantage though is its slow speed on land, and whether this is a limiting factor in its theoretical battle with the sandworm is still debatable. Now let's get to the scenario. How would a fight play out between these two monsters? Of course, the setting would be in the desert world of Arrakis, since it is the only place where both creatures can survive, and let's say by means of an interdimensional crossover portal, Godzilla emerges into the Dune world. Walking on the desert sands, Godzilla creates rhythmic sounds of movement, much like a thumper that are used by the Freemen to attract the worms. This sound and vibration caused by a 50-meter tall creature that weighs 20,000 tons somehow attracts a rare sandworm which measures 1,000 meters in length. Now this scenario seems like a death sentence for the Big G, being out of his habitat and greatly dwarfed by an enemy creature that is considered a god by the humans living in that world. So on the horizon, the sandworm is seen at full speed swimming just below the surface of the dunes, going right at Godzilla, who cannot outrun the Hypothetical with his slow walking pace, never mind being further slowed down by the sands. The sandworm then disappears suddenly, only to reappear beneath Godzilla's feet as a gigantic 80-meter wide mouth that begins to swallow Godzilla whole. Godzilla scratches and tries to fight back, but in vain. The mouth is too big, only slowing down his eventual gulp. This might seem to be the end of the Big G, but inside the belly of the beast, after he is swallowed, Godzilla begins to charge his atomic breath, and in a few seconds the dunes erupt out like an underground nuclear test, the result of the atomic breath's explosion, which kills the Hypothetical inside out in an instant, and also nearly annihilates Godzilla -1, who is basically in point-blank range or ground zero when the after effect of his power manifests inside the sands with deadly intensity. So the result of this battle seems to appear as a double L, death to both combatants. But inside the sands of Dune, a large piece of fleshy chunk begins to grow and expand, and eventually from it comes out another Godzilla. So the conclusion? Godzilla -1 wins. And if you have your own theoretical scenarios on how the battle will take place or play out, then do let everyone know down in the comments. Now if you like this video, then watch this other one as well, and do check out our channel for other monster content. We might have things you haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, fam.